Some people are born with features so rare and extreme, they stop you in your tracks. We're talking about body parts far beyond the norm. Hands as big as dinner plates, eyelashes that brush the lips, legs taller than most doors. These striking traits often come from unique genetics or rare medical conditions. Join us in this video as we explore 20 people with the most unusual bodies in the world.
Mandy Sellers. When Mandy Sellers was born, her parents noticed something unusual right away. Her legs were bigger than they should have been. Not too big at first, but just off. As she grew, the difference became more obvious. Her upper body stayed average-sized, but her legs kept growing, way bigger than what anyone had ever seen. Doctors were puzzled. For a long time, no one could explain what was going on. Some said it might fix itself. Others just shrugged. But it didn't stop. By the time she was a teenager living in Lancaster, England, her legs were already making everyday life harder. Walking was tough. She had to use crutches. There wasn't a store that made pants or shoes that would fit. Despite the looks and the questions, some kind, some not, Mandy stayed strong. She knew she looked different, but she refused to act like it was something to be ashamed of. She had dreams like anyone else, and even though her body made things more complicated, she didn't back down. Eventually, a possible diagnosis came up: Proteus syndrome, the same rare disorder many believe the elephant man had. It's known for causing abnormal tissue growth. In Mandy's case, her legs were the only part affected, but they were extreme. At one point, her left leg alone weighed more than 200 pounds. Imagine dragging that around all day, every day. In 2010, things took a turn. The weight of her leg started putting her health in danger. Doctors had to amputate it above the knee. It was heartbreaking, but necessary. You'd think that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. The remaining part of her leg, it started growing again. Even after surgery, the growth didn't stop. The tissue expanded slowly. Scientists finally looked deeper and found she had a one-of-a-kind gene mutation. It wasn't Proteus syndrome after all. It was something even rarer. Basically, Mandy's DNA had its own strange rulebook. Still, she didn't give up. Mandy got a prosthetic and learned to walk again, even with the weight of her other legs still slowing her down. She appeared in documentaries, spoke in interviews, and told her story the way she wanted. Her message was clear: being different isn't something to hide. You live with it, you fight through it, and you own it. Annie Hawkins Turner. Have you ever heard of Annie Hawkins Turner? She's the woman with the biggest natural breasts in the world. No implants, no surgery, just how she was born. She started developing when she was very young, way earlier than the other girls, and they just kept growing. Doctors said she had a rare condition called gigantomastia. Basically, her body just doesn't know when to stop producing tissue. Each one weighs over 40 pounds. That's like carrying 2 heavy bags around all the time. And it's not just size. There's back pain, headaches, trouble sleeping, all of it. Most people with this condition get reduction surgery, but Annie didn't want that. She said this is her body and she wants to stay the way she is. Of course, people stare. Some take photos without asking or act weird, but she doesn't let it bother her. She's done modeling, appeared on TV, and traveled the world. She owns it. She's not ashamed, and she's not hiding. Gary Turner. You wouldn't believe it unless you saw it with your own eyes. Gary Turner can pull the skin on his stomach out farther than most people can stretch a balloon. He can grab a fold of skin and stretch it out over 6 inches, and he doesn't wince or complain. It doesn't even hurt him. Gary was born in England, and ever since he was a kid, his skin has been way looser than anyone else's. At first, people just thought he was double-jointed or something. But as he got older, it became clear that something was different. His skin would stretch, twist, and pull in ways that made folks stop and stare. Turns out, Gary has a rare condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It messes with the body's collagen, which is what keeps your skin and joints firm. In Gary's case, it's like his body skipped the part where collagen makes things tight. His skin is soft, thin, and stretchy, almost like rubber. Instead of hiding it, Gary leaned into it. He started performing at shows, doing wild stunts with his skin. Imagine someone pulling the skin from their neck or face like it's made of dough. That's Gary, and people loved it. In 2004, he got the official title for it, the world's stretchiest skin, according to the Guinness World Records. Living with a condition like his isn't all fun and games, though. Gary has said his joints can be a bit unstable, and he has to watch how much pressure he puts on his body. But he doesn't let it slow him down. He's made peace with it, and he's turned something most people would hide into something that made him stand out.
Ruma Gelgi. From the moment Ruma Gelgi was born, it was clear she wasn't going to live a quiet, ordinary life. While other kids were running around and trying to fit in, she was growing fast, way faster than anyone else. By the time she was a teenager, she was already way past 6 feet. Today, she's over 7 feet tall, and not just tall, but the tallest living woman in the world. Imagine walking through life and literally having to duck under every doorway. Imagine strangers stopping and staring every single time you're out in public. She has a condition called Weaver syndrome. It doesn't just affect height, it makes walking painful and moving around a full-on challenge some days. But she's never tried to hide. In fact, she's out here using her story to speak up for others who feel like they don't fit in. Being the only woman with that kind of height makes me feel really special. She has become a voice for people with rare diseases.
Jason Rodriguez doesn't just have big feet, he has the biggest feet on the planet. This guy from Venezuela wears shoes that are bigger than most people's forearms. His left foot is about 16 inches long, and his right foot is just a little shorter. Growing up, Jason always knew something was different. His feet kept growing way faster than the rest of his body. By the time he was a teenager, he couldn't find shoes anywhere. Stores didn't carry his size, and even if they tried to help, nothing ever fit. For a while, he had to wear shoes made out of cloth and stitched together at home just so he could go outside. It wasn't just about fashion either. His huge feet made walking difficult and running was nearly impossible. Eventually, word about his situation got out, and a special shoe company in Germany stepped up and made him custom shoes for free. That moment changed his life. Suddenly, he could walk comfortably, stand tall, and stop worrying about hiding his feet. Pauline Potter. Pauline didn't plan on being popular, but weighing over 600 pounds got her named the world's heaviest living woman. With that weight, she couldn't walk, couldn't dress herself, and could barely even move around her house. And yeah, people had a lot to say. But what most people didn't know was what got her there in the first place. It wasn't just about food. It was everything. Pain, loneliness, trauma. She turned to eating for comfort, like a lot of people do. Except her body just couldn't stop gaining. And before she knew it, her life was slipping away. She was trapped inside her own body. But she didn't just sit back and let it destroy her. Pauline went public with it all. She called out for help on TV and interviews wherever people would listen. Not for attention, but because she wanted her life back. She started to push herself to lose weight and move again. It was slow, painful, and messy, but she's trying, and that's what makes her story matter. Lee Redmond. One day in the late 70s, Lee Redmond stopped cutting her nails just to see how long she could grow them. Then days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and before long, it became her thing. Her nails kept growing. By the time she hit the record books, her nails measured a total of 28 feet and 4 inches. That's longer than a full-size pickup truck. She kept them polished and cared for, always super careful with her hands. She even managed to do things like brushing her teeth and driving, just slower and with way more caution. But here's the part people don't talk about. It wasn't just for show. For Lee, her nails became part of her identity. She was known for them, respected for her dedication. It takes serious patience and control to avoid breaking a nail for 30 years straight. Then, in 2009, she got involved in a car crash, and in a matter of seconds, it was all gone. She wasn't hurt badly, but emotionally, that was a huge loss. Mehmed Azirek. Mehmed Azirek from Turkey had a nose so long you could spot him from across the street. It measured 3.5 inches.
Now, this is the kind of thing that would mess with someone's confidence. When he was younger, he got teased a lot. Kids made jokes. People stared. It wasn't easy. But instead of hiding it, Mehmed eventually owned it. He ended up being super proud of his nose. He even went on record, literally. Guinness certified him as having the longest nose in the world. Sadly, in 2023, Mehmed passed away. Devendra Suthar, a carpenter from India, does not have normal hands and toes like the rest of us. He has 14 fingers and 14 toes. It's caused by a rare condition called polydactyly, which basically means being born with extra fingers and toes. Most people with it have maybe 1 or 2 extras, but Devendra got 8 more than the rest of us. But here's what's interesting. He doesn't treat it like a problem. In fact, he's cool about it. He uses his hands for woodwork, tools, whatever. You'd think all those extra fingers would get in the way, but no, the man just makes it work. People come from all over just to see him. Some are shocked, some are curious, but Devendra, he's used to it. For him, it's just another day at the workshop. He even jokes about how gloves are a nightmare to find. He could have spent his whole life hiding his hands or feeling ashamed, but instead, he's out here living normally, just with a few more fingers than the rest of us.
Kim Goodman. Kim Goodman holds the world record for the farthest eyeball protrusion, with her eyes protruding ½ an inch. Now that might not sound like a lot until you actually see it. Most people can barely move their eyes forward at all, but when Kim does it, her eyes look like they're about to fall right out of her head, and somehow she's totally fine. The story goes that she first discovered this strange ability after getting hit in the head once years ago. Nothing too serious, but after that, she noticed she could push her eyes forward more than anyone else she knew. She didn't really think much of it at first, but over time, people kept reacting to it, and eventually, she leaned into it. She even went on TV. People couldn't believe it. She does it without pain. No special effects, just muscle control most of us don't have. What's crazy is she doesn't even have to try that hard. Sometimes if she yawns hard enough or gets surprised, her eyes will just pop out a little on their own. That's how loose the sockets are. She has this rare combination of muscle relaxation and eye structure that lets it happen safely. You would think this kind of thing might be dangerous, right? But Kim says it doesn't hurt, and doctors have checked her out and cleared her. She is built differently. No medical condition, no surgery, just a strange talent that no one else has been able to match.